I should be back now. Alright. Alex says, on a kibbutz, the community raises the children. My children and stepchildren were all raised by two families, and my niece has three adults raising in her home. Michael says, I was spoiled rotten as a kid. I never learned how to communicate with my parents. They just gave me toys to interact with rather than their time. And how do you feel that affected you, Michael? I like to. I'm not. If you don't feel comfortable answering that, that's fine. But if you would like to share with the community how you feel that affected you, and I'm going to have to go to my earpiece here soon. Please share with us. Let's see. My kid would be learning Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. If there you go. And Michael says, down goes. Yeah, I'm back though. So, you know, the idea of letting your child make decisions for themselves is nothing short of complete insanity, because they don't know and they don't have the tools to make decisions for themselves. And if you let them do that at an early age, and you don't give them the foundation as a parent as you should, they're going to be laying the rules down for themselves for the rest of their lives. And this creates problems. This isn't good. I have only myself to raise my kids, as my ex-husband decided not to raise them after they were born. So I depend on friends to be there and family. And in our, yes, very much. And I agree. I've had to rely on friends and family when I was in my situation, which I'm not going to get into. And sometimes you have to do that, especially when you have to go out and work and do all that kind of thing, and it gets very rough. The important part is to give them the most you possibly can and make sure everybody's on the same page. Remember the Pharaoh boy in The Road Warrior? Yes, I do, Lanny, very much so. And that's exactly what I'm referring to. No one to raise him, so he ends up making his own rules for himself, and I think he turned out all right in the long run. But as a parent, do you want to risk that? The object is to give your child the best chance you possibly can. You do that by teaching them and raising them, and raising them in Torah. And the object isn't to hope for the best, it's to give them the best chance as a parent, and a lot of people fall short on that. My son personally, I tried to give him the best chance I could, and I still try to give him the best chance I could. People thought I was way too strict. People thought, they're like, oh my goodness. I said, you don't understand. I'm a single parent, and there's no reason he shouldn't have to respect me and respect other people and be well behaved. He never once, because I didn't give him the opportunity, he never once sat there and griped because he couldn't get something in the grocery store. He never once griped when the ice cream man went by. Ice cream man went by, he would randomly start dancing while the other kids ran over there. He had no idea what the ice cream man was. Finances were tight. I couldn't afford that sort of thing. And all these people who say, oh, well, this, that, and the other thing. You know what? Don't give the opportunity. You're teaching the kid to beg for stuff in a grocery store and act up in a grocery store. And that's what it comes down to. Let's see. I learned to reason as my child. Was taught to think first before acting. My parents didn't believe in corporal punishment. I dreaded the talking to worse than any spanking. I've never had to spank my child at 7 years old either. If you raise him right from the begin with, there's no reason you can't go through. And if he's acting up like that, I know he's sick. Michael says, I ended up starting to self-harm when I was 11, got a drinking problem when I was 16, failed school, and ended up psychiatric hospital. I believe that it stems from my inability to bond with my family. And thank you for sharing that, Michael. I know that has to be difficult to share. But your story very much shows what can happen when you don't have that foundation. Again, we're back to the traditional Jewish woman and the importance of her role. You know, what can be more important than raising your child and the people of the adults of the future? It was the snowflake that started the avalanche, so to speak. Exactly. I myself I pretty much raised myself for the most part. And yeah, I was pretty much a mess also, and yes, I was involved in alcohol and all sorts of things. Luckily, I have turned that around, and it took a lot for me to turn that around, a whole lot for me to turn that around. And it would have been a lot easier if I had somebody there, you know, teaching me as you would. And it gets very difficult. I can't imagine any child who's been through something as rough as we have, Michael, not saying, you know what, I really wish I had my parents there being real jerks. And that's what it comes down to. And Michael says, I don't mind sharing it. I feel I'm open about it. And hopefully that someone needs help and feel comfortable talking to me about it. You very much so, and that's how I feel about all my life experiences. I've had those negative experiences so I could help others, and that's how I feel about it, and will continue to feel about it. Let me ask you this. Obviously, at some point in age, they're going to start to want to express themselves and do their own thing. And that's fine. What age do you all think that's appropriate? Of course, Lanny's going to sit there and say if it's my girl when she turns 30. But, you know, and most of us men feel that way. If it's our daughter, it's going to be when she turns 30, we'll let her start thinking for herself. But what age do you think you should start to let them, you know, branch out and feel what they're doing? When do you feel... 37, there you go, Lanny. When do you feel that, okay, I've done as much as I possibly can. I've incorporated a Torah life into this as much as I can. While you're sharing that, I'd like to say something interesting about the Amish community. In the Amish community, there is an age they turn, which is either 16 or 18, I forget at this point, where they actually release their children from the religion. They let them do whatever they want. They can do absolutely anything they want, whatever they want, without any repercussions. The children choose to return. They do the raising up to 16, 18. They are strict about it. And then they let them go out into the world and experience the world, and the children decide to come back in to the religion. I really like this idea. It's a very successful idea from what I've seen. Alex says, Lanny says, I never had kids. That's your issue. Alex says, when they've grown and moved out, but these days it about 11 or so, and I don't believe it should be that early. Amish by drive-by. Yeah, exactly. Clop, 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 bang, bang, clop, clop. And, you know, I kind of like this idea that you're strict and you raise them by Torah, and then, you know, at an age when they go out, they can experience the real world and make the decision. Devorah could share if she's still in here. She had a very similar experience. Her family was raised religious, and then, you know, they had a decision on whether to continue with that or not, which I think is very healthy. 463-204, 16 BC, my mom and dad never let me have any options unless it was their own, so I won't hurt my kids that way. I won't let them do whatever, but they will have some freedom. I agree, some freedom is okay, as long as you raise them in the ways of Torah. And at an early age, but an intellectual kid who hung out around my parents' friends who were professors and doctors, which I'm sure helped things tremendously. Um, you know, he became an early adult. Good philosophy 204. Now, with that being said, I've rambled on and on about this, and what are your inputs in raising children in the way of Torah? Maybe how you approached it, how you would have done it differently. You know, I don't regret how I raised my son. The most critical people in my life have come to me and say, I can't believe how well behaved your child is. And these are people that helped raise me. Um, when they turn around and tell you, I can't believe what a wonderful job you've done, that actually means something. That's important. So I can feel good that I've done what I've done, and I raised his sister the same way. My kid would be going to Hebrew school, and if I had had a different background, without a doubt, my son would have been going to Hebrew school. Unfortunately, I didn't have that background at the time, and it just didn't happen. But it's never too late. He understands that. You know, he was asking me about Christmas today, and I had to explain to him, Daddy doesn't do Christmas. He does something different, and he wanted to know what, and I explained it to him. As well as my dad, who I had a conversation with today. You know, which is fine. And I'm hoping at some point that, you know, my son will see what I am and how I live my life and make the same decision I've made. Lonnie says parents need to raise their children, not rely on TV, school, internet, or babysitting. I agree 100%, Lanny. Um, I haven't had a TV. The only time the TV was on with my son would be when I was playing a brief video for him. We would have internet nights where we'd play YouTube videos and dance around and have fun with that. We had much more fun being interactive and doing things and getting out and all that kind of stuff. Um, I wish I had raised them in the Torah from birth, but I am starting new now at 4 and 6, and my daughter is very open to it all. And that's fantastic that you have that. I mean, it's not that difficult if you think about it. If you present it to them in the correct manner, if you include them in the candle lighting and the hamotzi, all of it is very wonderful tradition. And believe it or not, uh, excuse me, children do appreciate that. Um, um, Devorah says, I was glad to have been given the freedom to come back and continue on my own. There you go. You had to experience your thing and you had to come back to it. And you're growing in it on a daily basis. My kid would see his or her parents to be observant in everyday life. And that's cool. That's really cool. You know, like I said, it's their decision later on if they want to continue with that. But most of the time, usually they will. Obviously, you don't want to be too obsessive. You know, we have some communities out there which their children are growing up, they don't even know how to speak English. That's going overboard. That's pushing it too far. They don't know how to exist in the real world. We can't do that either. That's not what the Torah says. The Torah says when we're not in Israel and we don't have a temple, you are to interact in the rest of the world, and you need to know how to interact in the rest of the world. So doing that and keeping your children out of the real world is actually defeating the whole purpose and going against what the Torah teaches us. Like it says, I grew up on the TV era, but knew the difference between programs and reality. Well, programs are, for the most part, have progressed into reality and now are becoming fake and presented as reality at this point, which is just skewing absolutely everything at this point. Obviously, Duck Dynasty is now proven to be fake as we go on with that. Not that I watch, but I've caught a few things. But that's a bunch of millionaires that got together and wanted to be on TV and presenting themselves as reality TV, and everything's just completely blurred at this point. And having a TV in the home is unnecessary and a distraction, and everybody will disagree with me, and I understand that. And Judaism is portable. Absolutely, it goes with you everywhere. And Lanny says reality shows are everything but. And your Judaism goes with you anywhere. Your beliefs go with you everywhere. Your observances go with you. So did I. New MASH and Gilligans Island were not real. The good old days. MASH was, however, based on a true story. It made light of something which at the time would be socially unacceptable to put on TV, and gave us something, a way we could grasp of actually what was going on. Yes, you did, Mr. Alex, and I believe it was actually last night that you made the comment, and if you go in, you'll see we've been actually slaughtering the whole thing and moved into Pinky and the Brain. Narf! So that being said, go catch up on that, and TV is just such a waste, and there's so much better things you can do with your time, and using the TV as a babysitter is just craziness. You're not going to get anything good out of that. Zero good. Catching a cartoon once in a while because you need to take a break is fine. I always said get your homework done and you get an hour TV, and that was the end of it. Meantime, as a parent, you have to understand that you have to be interactive with your child. If you're cooking, include the child if you can. Hey, come over here and, I don't know, set the table. Help me mix this salad. Something of that nature. Include them. That's all they want. They want to be there with you. Give them a task that they can do, whether it's putting silverware out or whatever. Have them involved. Let's see. Michael adds, I have my TV on all the time, but it just plays BBC News and BBC Parliament. There you go. One of the better news sources, actually. You want to find out the truth, you go watch BBC News. Include them in the dinner. Include them in clearing the table. Include them in your projects. I included Hunter in most of my projects that I could. And whatever it is, include them in your life. That's all they want. They want to be next to you. Take some time out. Play with them. Say, I'm going to spend an hour a day playing with my children. Miss Sarah says, I'm a dinosaur that prefers real books. Reading to him is very important. I always read to Hunter before going to bed and sang to him from day one. His favorite was The Stinky Cheese Man, which is a fantastic children's read if you ever get the chance to read it. One of the best fairy tale books out there. I don't have cable. I don't have a TV for years. I didn't have a TV for years. People always ask what I did with myself, and told them I did everything they were watching people do on TV, and that's exactly right. People are like, oh my goodness, you don't have a TV, it's horrible. Well, you know what? I'm out there learning. I'm out there studying. I'm reading things. I'm able to do this broadcast. I'm enjoying music. There's so many things out there that are more productive for what I'm doing. Everybody says, how can you possibly do all this stuff? Well, I don't sit there in front of a TV. They're like, how do you work 70 hours a week? I don't have a TV. I'm not sitting in front of the TV. 430487 says, I love bedtime stories. I agree. And songs, yes. And singing. Believe it or not, one of the coolest things to do when you get older and you're having some time with your partner and you're just kind of chilling and you want to relax, try singing some children's songs from your old past. Believe it or not, it's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot more fun than watching junk on TV. and and kids do love to read, and they love to be read to as well. One of the things I did with Hunter that I will admit is I would put in the introduction to Nightmare Before Christmas every night. And I did that with his sister also. Prune Song! Absolutely! If anybody who doesn't know the Prune Song, that's definitely one of the... Itsy Bitsy Spider, another great one. There's Peanut Butter and Jelly. There's, oh, geez, there's just so many out there. Of course, Shabbat Shalom and Bim Bim Bom are definitely up there on the list. Try going back to those old songs. Believe me, you won't believe the feelings you have and how nice it makes you feel, and how wonderful it is. I will fully admit that when I was Christian or non-religious, I loved Christmas, to the point I worked in a Christmas shop. And I still love Christmas lights, and I say it all the time. I would rather have Christmas lights than a Harley Davidson. And I love Christmas carols. And at work, they can't stand me because I'm singing the carols and playing the carols all day long, where they're pretty much sick of it at this point. But those songs bring back good memories to me, and they make me feel good. You saw me talking to my dad about the Christmas tree and our Christmas tree and all that. They're nice memories. So singing those children's songs brings back good memories and warm, nice feelings and that sort of thing. Anybody else have any children's songs they like to throw in before I start singing the Prune Song? But there are a lot out there, we all have songs that are, for the most of us, we all have songs that our parents or somebody sang to us. And exactly, people love to look at the lights, and that's my whole thing. I love hooking up the lights, and I love putting in displays. I used to do 8 houses in a row when I was in Pennsylvania, all the same theme, and that was always a great experience for me. Really brought the neighborhood together. Jack Benny, yeah. My favorite, though, who's the number one Christmas caroler ever? Who's the number one guy who sang a Christmas album? Number one, without a doubt, is Bing Crosby. On top of the list, number one, the greatest Christmas album ever. Second to that is a song by Red Skelton also. Believe it or not, I just found out he had a wonderful voice. And he's actually a pretty decent singer. Number 2 song would be Dead by Christmas by Hanoi Rocks. White Christmas, exactly. That's the one I'm talking about. I can listen to that nonstop. Elvis has some great tunes. Here we are. We're in a shul and we're talking about Christmas carols. But we all know what we mean. Kumbaya. Kumbaya is not a Christmas carol. That's some kind of hippie nonsense. When the end of the world is here. The Bear in Tennis Shoes. I don't know that one. Oh, I got one. This is a little older. This is from the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. Skimmadinky Dinky Dink. The Elephant Spiderweb song. Boom Diada. I'm not familiar with that one either. Porky Pig's Blue Christmas was a classic. I will look that one up. I will definitely have to look that one up. I know Crazy Frog has some stuff. We need some more. We need some more Hanukkah albums out there. We definitely need some more Hanukkah music and some more upbeat songs along that way. More albums put out by more mainstream people. We have Adam Sandler, but that's only one song, and after a while, that kind of gets on your nerves. So we'll have to work on that. Snoopy is a children's song. That is correct. Yes. Hunter, I will say, was without a doubt brought up on some children's songs, but a lot of mainstream stuff. A lot of it I edited to sing to him. I had trouble relating to my feminine side to be his mom too, and in order to break that down, I had to approach it in a different manner, and it worked out in the long run. And it was nothing incredible, harsh, or terrible, and I wasn't cursing in front of him or anything. It was just a little bit different. That's all. So obviously everybody has wonderful childhood memories of singing and songs, and Barbara Streisand does Christmas songs, and that's just so wrong. Bette Midler, don't even want to go there. That's correct. Yeah, and Sammy Davis Jr. Yes, I caught him. I was listening to, for us older folks, I was listening to old episodes of Laugh-In, which is a TV show from the 70s, 1973, I believe. Laugh-In with all-star cast, Sammy Davis Jr., Goldie Hawn. If you're from that era and you can remember that show, I recommend you go check it out. This is the reason. What they were doing was so socially progressive, and the message they were sending was so socially progressive, it by far blows your mind that we have to be so sensitive when we talk about anything today. They flat out attacked homophobics, anti-Semitics, the government, whatever it was. They with comedy, they went right after whatever the particular issue was, the social issue was. And I found that amazing. Sirius XM Radio does a Hanukkah channel for the whole day. Really? I'll have to try to check that out. That's cool. I know there's some Celtic stuff out there, and I can't find it for the life of me, and I can find anything. Rowan and Martin, I'm not sure who they are. I remember the Goldie Hawn. Yep, exactly. Holiday in Cambodia that covers the holidays. That just sounds awkward. Definitely. So with that, getting back to the topic, obviously we all have warm, fuzzy feelings from music and our childhoods and various traditions, and I will admit I fully wish I had Jewish traditions growing up, and I wish that had been in my life. And I am my life was a complete mess, and I'm really sorry I didn't have that. I would have liked to have that and had those traditions, and I'm getting those traditions now and sharing them with you as well as other people. And so basically I'm having my second childhood with all you thugs, and I appreciate you for tolerating that and putting up with me as I go through this. I feel rather as if all of you are as parents to me and helping me through this journey and discovering all these wonderful things. And I appreciate that, and I love you guys for that. So, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add about raising children, that sort of thing? You know, all I'm saying is be involved. Raise them in the way of Torah. Keep them on the path, but don't go crazy with it either. There is a happy medium. I appreciate everyone's input in this and everyone's open and honesty, especially Michael being open and honest with that. That was really nice, Michael. So if no one else has anything to add, I am actually going to close out this evening's broadcast, and I apologize again for all the messes we're having. And I appreciate you all coming out here. Obviously, all of you, I'm assuming all of you have been here before, and it seems all of you have. Donate, 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 blah, blah, blah. You keep the lights on. There you go. Whatever gifts they have, encourage them and show them how to use. And, I'm so glad you say that. My 6-year-old understands this concept. I'm so glad you said that. This is what Albert Einstein said. If you line up a group of animals, and you all test them the same way. And one of those animals happens to be a goldfish. And you test them by telling them to climb a tree. The goldfish is going to lose every time. And that doesn't mean the goldfish is stupid. It doesn't mean the goldfish is not capable of doing amazing, wonderful things. It means that goldfish has its own specific set of skills and, skills. And so you can't possibly, don't judge your children across the board. You don't know where their skills are going to lie. Not everyone needs a lot of money to be happy. Most people who have a lot of money are miserable, to be honest with you. I know, I deal with them on a daily basis. And the amount of money isn't going to change anything. If they're happy and they can support themselves, and they're doing okay by themselves, and they don't need a lot of stuff, and they show up in a beat-up car, and their clothes are a little ratty, but they're happy, let them go with that. Let them be happy. You're absolutely right. Encourage those gifts. And you'd be surprised where I used to get picked on all the time because I was programming in computers, and now there's not too many people laughing about that. Parents have the best childhood with their kids. Exactly. Another thing, don't try to be their friends. You can't be their friends. Don't do it. It's the worst thing you can do. Be a parent. You're a parent. You're not a friend. If you're a parent, I guarantee you they will feel comfortable enough coming to you and talking to you, and you're going to be way better off. It doesn't pay to try to be their friends. Being their friends means you're getting in much trouble or into their trouble with them, and that's ridiculous. No one cares about the masses. I'm not sure what you mean about the masses, but if you like to expand on that, that'd be cool. But yeah, avoid the friendship trap, because that's going to be nothing but trouble. And trust me, this is from personal experience. So, if nobody else has anything they'd like to add, I'm going to go ahead and finish out the broadcast. And thank you all again for coming, and thank you all for your input. This has been a great discussion. If your child, for some reason, goes out and sees another child playing with, I don't know, a dead animal, Miss Sarah, you need to be a good parent and say, no, you don't play with dead animals. This is how we handle the situation. And you pull them aside and you discuss that with them, and you make sure that they don't play with dead animals in the yard, even if another child is doing that. Good night, all. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you all again. I'll be back in the chat room shortly, and as soon as I close this out.